Hi everybody, it's Gail from Gail's Bookish Things. When I was on my way to Idaho last week, our flight had a layover in Denver, and at the airport there they had books. There was a bookstore. They had books and I guess there were maybe some magazines and stuff in there, but I was surprised to see notebooks and pencils and crayon type things or marker things that were produced by Lamy. I was not aware that they had a line of paper. I didn't buy it at the airport. I wanted to keep my travels light, and at the time I just had my carry-on bag, which had room for absolutely nothing else. If you watch my video, you'll know what I mean on what I packed to take on the plane. So when I got home, I checked out Amazon and found these notebooks. They're gray, kind of has a look of cloth on the cover, kind of a linen look, but it's paper. And then there's this like bright green. Doesn't look like it's showing up very well. There's a bit of a glare, but kind of a bright green stitching. Let me turn on my overhead light, see if that helps. And anyway, I thought it would be really fun to try this out together. This comes in a dot grid with bolder vertical, horizontal lines, and then fainter vertical ones that are dot, where these are solid. It was 3 for, I want to say 15. I don't think that was too bad for this kind of notebook. We'll see how I like it, and it might take some trial and error too to get an opinion. I have to try more than one thing. And then my friend Hannah at Hannah Sonder Wonder, am I saying that right? I don't know, Hannah. You'll have to help me with that. But anyway, she sent me this Kokuyo paper. So it also says Gamble, but on the back it says Kokuyo. So I'm assuming this is the name of the paper. Also says it there. And I have just played around with this a little bit and taking some notes, and I've liked it. It's really soft and smooth paper. I thought we would compare that. And then I bought this notebook a few weeks ago just to consider some other paper options. The planner that I use is by this Paperage, and it is pretty decent for fountain pen. I just use it. It's like a dated planner where it has the years, the months of the year all together, and then it's broken down into weeks. And it works fine with my fountain pens for that. I'm not a neat planner person. I don't decorate with stickers and stuff. It's really just kind of a to-do list or what's coming up list. So all that being said, it did have a few pieces of paper in the back of the planner, but I really just wanted to give it a good try. And I have taken out a few pieces already to write some letters. And I have done a little bit of testing, as you can see right here. I do like the setup of this kind of notebook. It's sort of like the Leuchtturm, and this one's a hardcover. Got the elastic binder there. Looks like I dented up the corner, but I don't think it's probably my favorite fountain pen paper, but it's not bad. So I just want to take a closer look and try my currently inked pens on these 3 papers. Since these are torn out already, I thought I would just use those. And that book, this one, the Line Notebook, is, I don't remember the price. It's on Amazon, and it's 160 pages, 100 GSM, lay flat design, expandable inner pocket, some of those kind of basic things in a notebook of that style. But I don't think it's going to be terrible either. So this is just kind of a comparison, and really only with time will I have a definitive opinion on these. But let's give it a try together. I've had all kinds of pens inked this month. I had different things kind of prepared for the 4th of July, and when I got back from Idaho, I wanted to do all green inks, but by the time I got back, I wanted to try other things. So this is kind of what I have left in the repertoire. This is my Leonardo Momento Zero, and this is the blue Green Lagoon. It's one of my earlier pens that was beyond a TWSBI or a Lamy. And I've liked it pretty well, but I find that I don't reach for it a lot. But I'm not sure why that is, because when I write with it, I do like it. In this pen, I have Ackerman Deepwater Blue, which is one of the inks. If I had to pick a few favorites, Ackerman Deepwater Blue would definitely be in there. If somebody said, you know, pick 2 or 3 inks, this would be among those. So let's just, got a little gnat flying around here. Let's just kind of write what the pen is, just to see how it compares on these different papers. Oh, it's not a Franklin Christoph. Gosh, it's a Leonardo. I'm always curious to try new papers, just because I don't want to be locked into just one and then that paper not being available anymore, which has happened since my entering the fountain pen hobby. This is writing very nicely, really smooth. I guess checking for feathering or bleed through would be good. So no bleed through. And I don't think it's feathering, but I wouldn't say it looks super crisp. But it has a very nice feel. I could definitely, at least based on this first experience, liking it. Tell you that, let's do one at a time. The next one I have inked is this Benu. This is the Frankincense Talisman. I lent this to my daughter-in-law for a little while, and it has in it Van Diemen's Queenstown Gold Mine, which is a super sparkly ink. If you like sparkle, this ink is for you. And if you like inks that sparkle that have a rusty undertone, this ink is for you. The undertone, the base color, looks a lot like the color here on this pen. And my son Drew commented that this yellow looked like pineapple. And I have to agree with that. So let's just see how this one works. Benu Talisman. And this is the Frankincense, which I have talked about in other videos, also abroad. And again, feeling really nice and smooth. It's so shimmery. It's a beautiful ink. And no bleed through on that one. Now this is really fun to write with. Like every letter has a saturated shimmer element to it. For me personally, if I'm writing like a long letter or writing in my journal for an extended amount of time, I think that this would get on my nerves a little bit, just because it's just more fancy or something. I don't know. I love it though. It's beautiful, and I like it for highlights in my journal. When I do my date stamps, I like to, stencils, I like to fill in the number with this. I also think it'd be super pretty for the holidays. I'm gonna get a drink of water. As you have probably been able to tell, I have yet another cold, which I think I got coming home from Idaho. Who knows? Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is the Opus 88 Orange Demonstrator in broad, also my preferred nib size. And in this I have Private Reserve Orange Crush. This was a sample gift from my friend Kathy at Scribe Samples. This is super nice. These all three have so far just felt really nice on the paper. I don't get a draggy, dry feeling to it. No bleed through. And I think like this Deepwater Blue is the one that has what I would call a little bit of feathering, but it's not even that bad. It's just maybe a little less than crisp. I forgot to put the names of those, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter. Just trying to sample the writing. This, as you might know, is a TWSBI Eco Tea in Saffron. This is also broad nib. I guess all these tonight are broad nibs. These colors are really going to be similar. This is the KWZ Crawdaddy, which was the 2023 St. Louis Pen Show ink. And I have really liked this ink a lot. It reminds me a lot of Noodler's Habanero. I'm not getting much shading on this paper, where I do get shading with this on other papers. But again, a very smooth, pleasant writing experience. No complaints on that at all. If anything, it just doesn't show the shading elements quite as much. Okay, so far, thumbs up on the Lamy paper. I like it. I don't know why I hadn't heard of Lamy paper, and if some of you have told me and I've forgotten, my apologies to you, but that was a fun discovery. Okay, now that we know what's in my currently inked, let's just go ahead and write with them and see what we think. Leonardo Memento Zero. Looks like it's loose there. And I'm getting a very smooth writing with this too. Maybe slightly drier feeling than the Lamy paper. And the color here is a little bit more white, and this is cream or off-white. This depends on your preference there, I guess. Let's try a little more writing because I'm not sure. Ackerman Deep Water Blue. Let's check for no bleed through. That's good. It does say on the Amazon description that it's good for fountain pens, but that is a very subjective experience. I feel like I've tried some papers that say they're good for fountain pens, and they're good in that they maybe don't bleed through, but I don't find them as pleasurable as writing on other papers. But so I guess it just depends on what you enjoy in a paper. You might be able to hear it's a little more, has that more toothy sound to it, and it feels a little more grippy. A little bit dry there, but not bad. Not bad at all. I think I could write with this and enjoy it. Just abbreviate that this is Queenstown Gold Mine. Let's see what's next. The Opus 88. This feels really smooth. Really shows off the vibrant color. These are really popping a little bit more, I think, than on the cream paper. Yeah, just because of the white background, I guess. You're getting a lot of shimmer here still. And the Orange Crush is actually looking quite similar, but I think this with the white background, it kind of shows up a little bit better. But there's nothing like wrong with that. It's still really good. And I'll do the TWSBI Eco Tea, KWZ Crawdaddy. This kind of, to me, has a feel of Cosmo Airlight a little bit. That may be way off, but that's what it's making me think of. Again, not the shading element present, but not a bad writing experience. I do like the broad or medium nibs overall, so maybe it would feel different with a fine nib or an extra fine. I don't know. I'm wondering if it would be a little more scratchy feeling, because it does seem just a little bit, this one a little bit drier. Let's go ahead and write it out for you. Feels very smooth. And the blue, if you can see, it's against this whiter page. Between the two, this is definitely white. These two are comparable. I think this one's slightly lighter, so 1, 2, 3 in the order of light to dark. But I'm liking how the blue looks on this one the best. Feels very nice, very smooth. Not bad at all, very nice. And this is a paper too, which I'm not familiar with. And if you are familiar with any of these three, please share your thoughts below. I would love to know your experience and your opinion, and what pen and ink combinations you like with any of these, just so I can try some new combinations. This frankincense, well, that's the name of the pen, but the Goldmine Van Diemen's Queenstown Goldmine really jumps out on this one because of the lighter background. Don't know if you're catching that. It's such a gorgeous ink, and it really doesn't feel dry like I would expect something that shimmery to feel like in my limited experience. Actually, I've been at this about 4 years now, but phew, I have a lot to learn, but I do feel like I've learned quite a bit too. It's going on more wetly on here. Is that a word? I like that. Neither of these feels exceptionally or annoyingly dry, but on this paper there's definitely more wetness as the ink goes down onto the paper. Private Reserve, French Crush. There's just a little bit of that look where it's kind of wet on the paper before it dries. I love that. I love a real juicy combination. And then last but not least, the TWSBI Eco Tea Saffron. These are so close, I like to skip a line just to distinguish the two. Getting a little more shading, at least as this goes down. I don't know if it'll dry that way. This is so nice to try this paper because I'm finding that it could be a very good fountain pen friendly paper. Now, did I check these for bleed through? Don't remember if I did, but there is definitely none. The writing is all as crisp as it is on any paper with a broad nib and the way I write. And let's check the back of this. A little bit of bleed through, but in my way of looking at things, that is not a problem at all. Just ever so slightly, and really primarily with the super sparkly ink where it's just going down real heavily. That little bit would not be a problem for me. So there are 3 new papers you may or may not be familiar with. They're newish to me. Paperage I have a little bit experience with, but again, only with my planner. So to try it as a writing paper or a journaling paper or a ink testing paper, it will be a fun new experience. And it's, you know, an affordable price for a decent paper for fountain pen inks. And I am not disappointed in the in the Lamy at all. I was thinking it might be a little bit like Leuchtturm, and with the selections of inks that I have not liked it as well. But this is better for me. You may have a different opinion, but I am happy to find that works so well, and I'm really liking this Kokuyo paper. It really shows off the color. I thought maybe it was showing a little bit of shading. Still not as much shading showing. This is a new ink to me. It's a sample, as I said, so I don't know enough about it and haven't written with it enough to know if it is a shader. I know that Crawdaddy does shade, and not seeing that quite as much there, but they're all looking good. They're looking colorful and bright, and I am happy with all these 3 combinations. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.